So apparently we are getting a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Frankly, I'm surprised we didn't get one sooner. I guess the Mario movie is going to kickstart a golden age of Nintendo movies that arguably started with the undeniable masterpiece that is the Mario movie from 1993. I'll just leave that thought hanging, Mario movie from 1993 and masterpiece in the same sentence. I expect a Metroid movie will get announced any day now too. A Kirby movie will then be announced, and I expect it will be a live-action horror movie where Kirby snaps after years of platforming and facing off against surprisingly creepy bosses and then proceeds to eat everything like Nerevar at a buffet. I'm talking people, planets, and pomegranates. I needed a third P for the alliteration, come on. It will be like a Darth Nihilus movie, but like Nintendo Nihilus. So like baby's first Darth Nihilus, is that offensive towards Nintendo fans? I mean, Disney aren't using Darth Nihilus at all. Might as well make a weird adjacent Nintendo version instead. Anyway, we'll get an Animal Crossing movie after that, where Tom Nook will be exposed for the psychopathic Ponzi scheming raccoon false god that he is. That was a tangent, sorry. Back on topic. So I guess people will be raging that it's not animated. That's a given with every video game adaptation these days. Raging that it isn't a 6-episode anime on Netflix from Studio Trigger, because that's what every video game adaptation has to be these days after Castlevania was decent. Shots kind of fired, I guess. Well, you know what? Not everything can be that. And I'm glad we need variety. People were suggesting it could be a Studio Ghibli film, which makes a lot of sense until you realize that the moon in Majora's Mask is way too nightmare fuel-y for kids. And yes, I know, the Zelda games are partially aimed at kids, but back in the first era, or whatever kids were made of sterner stuff. Nowadays, kids are terrified at the sight of a video game that isn't Fortnite, or after they find out a game doesn't have microtransactions. Anyway, why not have the Zelda movie be live action? I mean, I could play Link and maybe Azura could play Zelda if she's not busy being self-indulgent in Moonshadow and could spare a moment to help a god out. The Ash slaves would play everyone else except Tingle. The adoring fan would play Tingle. That's perfect casting right there. Okay, you know what? He's maybe a little too annoying to play him, but if he toned it down a bit, he would be perfect. Of course, there's the issue of timelines. The Legend of Zelda franchise has roughly 4,372 and a half known timelines, including that one where Link is eternally herding goats in Orden Village. You thought Marvel and DC had a swit load of timelines. Well, boy, do I have news for you. But I guess this movie would be its own new timeline, where Link is played by Tom Holland, Navi is voiced by Danny DeVito, and Mario swoops by to help Hyrule with their plumbing, with an end credits scene setting up the Nintendo Avengers or something. The Nintenders is what they would be called. I'm just imagining now how awkward it would be for the Nintenders to meet up with the fetching friend code system Nintendo keep using. They really want to die on that damn hill of inconvenience, don't they? And the Nintendo Avengers has been done already. It's called Super Smash Bros. Sakurai is rolling in his metaphorical grave right now. Mark my words, knowing Nintendo, Piranha Plant will get a cameo in the Nintendo Cinematic Universe before Waluigi does, the Fetchers. What did Waluigi ever do to Nintendo to deserve such a fate? I mean, really, we'll get fetching Navi, Tingle, and even Uku before we get Waluigi in Smash. I guess Ganondorf will show up in the movie. I mean, considering he's the main villain of the franchise, I'd expect it, but you never know. With all the confusing timeline stuff, he might get thrown into the Animal Crossing movie instead. I think Ganondorf would be a cranky villager who has KK Comrade on loop in his house and an army of gyroids in his living room. He strikes me as the type. But yeah, a live-action Legend of Zelda movie has potential, and I'd get hyped. It could be a masterpiece, or it could be Water Temple, the movie. But hey, at least Nintendo are trying. Water Temple, the movie. Can you imagine? I'll end on that grim note. Nintendo, don't fetch this up.